There's a visual site. We have policy deployment matrices right from our strategic objectives right the way through the organisation. Everybody is clear on what they need to achieve for HMRC. Performance meetings are now very focused, and we've made a real difference to the organisation. So we're using the tools, we're using them to great effect where the leaders are effective, and that's the bit I keep coming back to, because we're still, as lots of organisations are, working really hard on that leadership piece and actually aligning all of our HR processes. So the behaviours that we need within PaceSetter are now our HMRC leadership behaviours. All of our assessment tools are around them, our talent management is around them. And I think a very strong message is actually, if you can't change the leaders, at some point you're going to have to change the leaders if you're going to make this successful. So ultimately, it's what people do that makes the difference. Now, these are our headline results, and I can give you those. And I can give you some examples. I can give you examples from all over the organisation. Our latest one's in from debt management and banking, who've seen productivity uplifts of 88% on one of their processes within the last 3 months. I can give you them, and you'll all have seen fantastic results across the piece. But I think for us, although 700 million is not to be sniffed at, and certainly, you know, in the current climate, we've got a great licence to keep going, given that yield is one thing that we need to get in for the exchequer, the biggest prize, I think, has to be the voice this has given to our people. So I'll leave you with some headlines, and we do change these regularly. These are the most recent of headlines coming in from staff in the organisation. It's made a real difference. Now, I don't want you to think that we throw open the doors of an HMRC office at 7 o'clock in the morning and people hi-ho into work, you know. It doesn't make people happier, but it does help people get engaged. And I think you mistake sometimes staff satisfaction for engagement. You know, some of our most miserable people are our most engaged. But they are making a huge difference to HMRC and to the way that we operate. Okay, so where are we going next? Now, interestingly enough, it made me smile actually when I put this in the slide pack, because I was recently in Exeter in one of our compliance and enforcement offices where some real gnarled old tax inspectors, not talking chronologically, but, you know, real kind of, well, you know, pace setter, what's it going to do for me? Some really robust conversations about what was happening and actually talking through what they're doing on the ground. And one chap said to me, I've been an investigator for 20 years, he said, and no one's ever told me how to investigate. I know how to investigate. He said, and I hate to say it, but that pace setter stuff, it's making a difference. He said, I'm not telling everybody it's making a difference, but it's making a difference. He said, but the one thing you must never do, Alison, he said, when you're building this toolkit, he says, is just don't bring me another bloody pyramid. So this is for your eyes only, this pyramid. But this is what we're working on currently, is our work on the enterprise end-to-end piece. Much of our work now has been on sub-process and within transactions, and we've realised that the bigger prize for HMRC and the bigger prize for our customers, which is ultimately, you know, our biggest aim is to achieve a better service for them, is the enterprise level end-to-end piece. So we're doing a lot of work at the moment on that, and I can talk through this. I'm such a lean bore. I could talk through this forever for you, but that's a big focus for us. Another one is on policy areas and the less transactional work. Some of the things we've been talking about in achievements, you hear lots of headlines around productivity and achievements. We've made some massive progress in some of our policy areas, reducing the cycle time of capital gains tax policy down to less than 12 months, which might not sound extreme, but if you think it's an annual tax, you know, the fact that it used to take us 15 months is a bit of a problem. And Business International, reducing one process from 3 years to 8 months is quite fantastic. So what I thought I would give you is give you our top 10 in my last 6 minutes. I could like a bit of sound in the background now with that da-da-da. See if I can count it down for you. But at number 10, the very early development of a strong internal cadre, I think, is essential and was essential to us and made the real difference. We talked earlier in the masterclass session I was on about consultancy transfer and transferring skills. People believe when they see their own people do it, and that's been my experience in public service. At number 9, the early small pilots generating quick wins, you know, proving to people what can be done was a really good call, and one we'd do again, I think, with the benefit of hindsight. But along with it is our number 8, which is establish a benefits realisation framework, and not just counting the FTE counts, but, you know, the productivity uplift, the quality outcome for customers right first time, so that you've got something up front to talk in solid data with the masses rather than just the few people who can see it for themselves, and particularly with the trade unions. If we had our time again, I think that's what we would do. At number 7, without the enterprise end-to-end, you're only going to focus on the small bits. And as I said, that kind of clashes with number 9, because I think you have to do those small ones to prove the art of the possible, if you like, to people. But I think very quickly moving on to the end-to-end will give you a bigger prize. You know, when we took that first group of self-assessment people a couple of years ago into a room with the people who'd done self-assessment in debt management and banking and enforcement and compliance, and we put them all together, and I was in the room with them. We did the end-to-end piece, and I spent about 10 minutes really saying, I'm so sorry, I really messed that up for you by doing this bit here. And it was a great kind of hug-loving moment, but we realised how much by doing our own little bit of the process we'd impacted on each other. At number 6, industrialisation, implementation of pay sector, it has to be, I think, for us, to get it right in a large public operation, you have to do that kind of tight central control thing in the beginning. We made a big mistake, I think, by being too inclusive, letting everybody try their little bit, and we wasted quite a bit of time and in doing that. And the benefits of hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? You know, we had very few people to talk to at the time. But having that strong central function and then moving out accountability is which is what we've done with the common operating model across the business now, but still retaining that central assurance function, you know, because it's that old people do what you inspect, not what you expect, is certainly true. Number 5, cracking for time, the role of the leaders really can't be understated. It's our most critical success factor. I think I've mentioned that more than one time. Number 4, one size doesn't fit all. And we're finding using the new, less transactional tools, some fantastic stuff around demand management and knowledge management in our policy areas is what's really making the difference for HMRC, really building into policy what can be delivered in operations and vice versa. Number 3, aligning the behaviours with all of your HR systems. Again, it kind of comes back to leadership, makes a big difference. You know, you only need one rotten apple, and there'll be a little sad club that will follow them, you know, and they'll find their way into their bit of their organisation. They'll all sit there gnarling at the rest of you. You know, you really have to attack the issue of leadership. Number 2, senior endorsement is critical, and I think has made HMRC a kind of place that anyone would want to work. Would say that, wouldn't I? You know, don't look at the headlines. You know, when I see what the potential is for our organisation, it's almost like the stars are aligned. You know, we can get there, but we can only get there because there's that belief in my Director General, the same belief that I see on the people on the ground, and we will make it happen. And number 1, I think the one that I would want to leave you with is, which used to be the senior leadership, but now the board are on board. That's not my number 1. My number 1 is that it really is hard work. It's for life, not for Christmas. And if it feels kind of easy, in my experience, you're doing it wrong. Thanks very much.